What if I told you there's a place on Earth where ships vanish without a trace, planes disappear mid-flight, and no one knows why? This place is called the Bermuda Triangle, and it has become one of the greatest mysteries of our time. The Bermuda Triangle is located in the western part of the North Atlantic Ocean. It forms a triangle between Miami, Florida, Bermuda, and San Juan, Puerto Rico. On the map, it looks like just another piece of ocean. But in reality, this patch of water has been surrounded by decades of fear, myths, and unsolved mysteries. The story of the Bermuda Triangle goes back centuries, even to the time of Christopher Columbus. In 1492, while on his famous voyage, Columbus reported strange compass malfunctions and mysterious lights in the sky as his ships passed near this region. He didn't know what he was seeing, but he knew something was not normal. That was only the beginning of countless stories that would emerge from these waters. Some of the most chilling events are real-life disappearances that have never been solved. One of the most famous is Flight 19 in 1945. 5 U.S. Navy bombers took off on a routine training mission. Hours later, all communication was lost. A search plane was sent to rescue them, but that plane disappeared too along with its entire crew. No wreckage was ever found. Another tragedy was the USS Cyclops in 1918. This giant Navy ship was carrying over 300 men and 10,000 tons of cargo. It vanished without a single distress call. It remains one of the largest non-combat losses in U.S. naval history, and no wreckage has ever been recovered. In 1967, a luxury yacht named Witchcraft left Miami with 2 passengers on board. Just minutes later, they radioed the Coast Guard for help. The rescue team reached the location almost immediately, but the yacht had completely vanished. No debris, no bodies, nothing was ever found. These cases are just a few examples. Over the years, dozens of ships and planes have been reported missing inside the Bermuda Triangle. Survivors who managed to escape have described strange experiences. Pilots reported compasses spinning wildly out of control. Sailors spoke of sudden fog, unusual cloud formations, and even glowing lights under the water. It seems like this part of the ocean does not follow the normal rules of nature. Scientists and researchers have tried to explain what could be causing these events. Some believe the area is affected by magnetic anomalies that interfere with compasses and navigation systems. If true, it would be easy for pilots and sailors to lose their sense of direction and crash. Others point to massive deposits of methane gas trapped under the ocean floor. If these gases suddenly erupt, they could sink ships instantly and even cause planes to malfunction. There are also natural dangers like rogue waves. These monster waves, sometimes reaching over 100 feet tall, have been recorded in the ocean. A single rogue wave could easily swallow a ship whole without leaving a trace. But not all theories are scientific. Many people believe the Bermuda Triangle could be connected to something beyond our understanding. Some say it is a hotspot for alien activity and that UFOs are responsible for the disappearances. Others connect it to the legend of Atlantis, suggesting that advanced technology from the lost city might be buried under these waters and interfering with navigation. Of course, Skeptics argue that the Bermuda Triangle is no more dangerous than any other part of the ocean. They point out that it is one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world. With thousands of planes and ships crossing every year, accidents are bound to happen. Human error, mechanical failure, and storms are enough to explain many of the so-called mysteries. Still, even science has not been able to explain every case. Today, modern technology like GPS, satellites, and advanced navigation systems has made travel across the Bermuda Triangle much safer. Planes and ships pass through it every day without incident. Yet, the legend lives on because the stories of those who disappeared without a trace cannot be erased. The Bermuda Triangle remains one of the most fascinating mysteries of our planet. Some call it a natural danger zone filled with storms, gases, and waves. Others believe it is connected to aliens, Atlantis, or even a portal to another dimension. The truth may never be known, but the mystery continues to capture the imagination of the world. Imagine this. Deep beneath the freezing Atlantic Ocean, a small submarine begins its journey into the darkness. A mission to visit one of the most famous shipwrecks in human history, the Titanic. The year is 2023. A private expedition called OceanGate sets out on an adventure unlike any other. Inside the small submarine named Titan, 5 people are ready to dive down nearly 13,000 feet to see the remains of the Titanic with their own eyes. For them, it's not just a trip, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. A journey into history, into mystery, and maybe into danger. The Titan submarine was small, just about the size of a car. Inside, the space was tight, cold, and dark. There were no fancy seats, no big windows, no comfort. Just technology, courage, and a dream. The people inside were explorers, adventurers, and experts. They believed they could conquer the deep sea and witness something very few have ever seen. As the Titan began its descent, the ocean swallowed them whole. The sunlight disappeared within minutes. The water outside grew darker, colder, and heavier. The pressure at that depth was beyond imagination. Every square inch of the submarine was being crushed by tons of force. But the crew trusted their machine. They believed in the mission. They were guided from the surface ship by a control team. Everything seemed normal until suddenly, all contact was lost. The screens went blank. The messages stopped. Silence. At first, people thought it was a small technical glitch. Maybe the communication line had broken. But as minutes turned into hours, and hours turned into days, the world began to realize something terrible might have happened. The Titan submarine had vanished, lost in the deep, dark ocean near the Titanic itself. The news spread across the globe. Millions watched, hoping for a miracle. Search teams from different countries joined forces. They used sonar, deep-sea robots, and powerful ships to search the area. Every second counted because the people inside had only a limited amount of oxygen, about 96 hours. Day 1 passed, no signal. Day 2, nothing. By the 3rd day, hope began to fade. The ocean was too deep, too dangerous, too vast. Finally, after days of searching, pieces of debris were found on the ocean floor. not far from the Titanic wreck. The truth hit hard. The Titan submarine had suffered a catastrophic implosion. The pressure of the deep sea crushed it instantly, leaving no chance of survival. It was one of the most tragic deep-sea disasters ever recorded. The world mourned. People everywhere asked, how could something like this happen in modern times? The ocean, as beautiful as it is, remains one of the most mysterious and unforgiving places on Earth. The story of the Titan submarine reminds us that even with all our technology, nature still holds the ultimate power. The deep sea is not a place for mistakes. It is silent, dark, and deadly, a world that demands respect. The explorers inside the Titan were dreamers, people who dared to go beyond limits. They wanted to touch history, to see the Titanic with their own eyes, to understand the past beneath miles of water. In their final moments, they were part of the same story as the ship they went to see. Both lost to the deep, both remembered forever. Today, when people talk about the Titanic, they also remember the Titan. Two tragedies separated by more than a century, yet connected by the same ocean. One sank from above, one was crushed from below, both reminding us that the sea holds secrets beyond imagination. So, next time you look at the vast ocean, remember, it is not just water. It's a world full of stories, both of wonder and sorrow. The Titanic and the Titan will forever rest side by side, deep in the darkness, reminding us how fragile and precious life truly is. This is the story of the Titanic submarine. The Great Pyramid of Giza, standing tall for more than 4,500 years, is one of the greatest mysteries of human history. Built during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu, it has always been a symbol of power, precision, and ancient engineering genius. But even after thousands of years, scientists and explorers are still uncovering new secrets hidden deep within its massive stone structure. Today, we'll explore the mystery of the hidden chambers inside the Great Pyramid of Giza and what they might tell us about our ancient past. The Great Pyramid was built around 2560 BC and was originally about 146 meters tall. Made from more than 2 million limestone blocks, some weighing as much as 80 tons, it's an incredible achievement even by today's standards. For centuries, people believed that everything inside the pyramid had already been discovered: the king's chamber, the queen's chamber, and the grand gallery. But recent technology has shown that there may be much more hidden inside than we ever imagined. In 2017, a project called Scan Pyramids used advanced scanning technology to explore the inside of the pyramid without causing any damage. Scientists used a technique called muon radiography, which detects tiny cosmic particles that pass through solid materials. By studying how these particles move, they can see inside massive structures, just like an X-ray sees inside the human body. What they found shocked the world. Deep inside the pyramid, above the Grand Gallery, they discovered a huge void, or empty space, that no one had ever seen before. This mysterious chamber is around 30 meters long, about the size of a passenger airplane, and no one knows exactly what it's for. Some believe it might be a secret burial chamber. Others think it was built to reduce pressure on the rooms below, and a few even believe it hides something extraordinary, like lost treasures or ancient knowledge. The discovery reignited global interest in the Great Pyramid. For centuries, historians and archaeologists have debated how and why it was built with such perfect alignment to the stars and such mathematical precision. The hidden chambers might hold answers to these mysteries. They could reveal new information about ancient Egyptian engineering, construction methods, and even their spiritual beliefs about life after death. Explorers have also used robots to investigate narrow shafts and tunnels that run through the pyramid. In one such tunnel leading from the Queen's chamber, a small robot discovered a tiny stone door with metal handles, something never seen before in ancient Egyptian architecture. What lies beyond that door remains a mystery, but it proves that the Great Pyramid still hides many secrets waiting to be found. Many theories have been proposed about these hidden chambers. Some scientists believe they were meant to store sacred items for the afterlife of Pharaoh Khufu. Others think they were symbolic, designed to help the king's soul ascend to the heavens. There are also those who suggest the pyramid was used for astronomical or energy purposes, connecting Earth to the stars. Whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain: the Great Pyramid continues to fascinate the world. It reminds us of how advanced the ancient Egyptians were and how much they understood about architecture, mathematics, and the universe itself. Today, new technology is allowing us to see what human eyes never could before. Scientists are planning more scans, robotic explorations, and even 3D mapping to reveal every hidden passage inside this incredible monument. As we keep exploring, we're not just studying an ancient tomb. We're uncovering a story of human ambition, creativity, and mystery that has lasted for thousands of years. The Great Pyramid is more than just a structure of stone. It's a time capsule from a world long gone, still holding secrets that could change what we know about our past. And as explorers continue to search its hidden chambers, one question remains: what else lies beneath those ancient stones, waiting to be discovered? This is the story of the Great Pyramid, where history, mystery, and wonder meet at the edge of time. October 13th, 1972. A Uruguayan charter plane carrying a rugby team lifts off to Santiago. Minutes into the crossing, the aircraft collides with the unforgiving Andes. Metal and snow become one. Many are killed instantly. Others wake to freezing shock and silence, surrounded by endless white. The survivors gather in the wreckage. Injuries are everywhere. Clothing is thin against the alpine winds, and the air is filled with disbelief. They share what little food the plane held and tend to wounds as best they can. Rescue teams search the mountains, but a critical mistake in the flight plan leads authorities to look in the wrong valley. Hope slowly fades with each passing day. Days turn into a bleak rhythm of rationing, improvising, and mourning. With supplies exhausted and temperatures plummeting, the group faces an unthinkable choice. After agonized discussion, they decide to use the bodies of their friends as a last source of nourishment, a solemn, pragmatic decision driven by survival and respect. This heartbreaking choice fuels their will to stay alive and keep fighting. The survivors become masters of improvisation. They melt snow for water, fashion shelters from aircraft debris, and patch wounds with what little they have. Leadership emerges naturally, and even in despair, they find moments of unity. They care for the injured, share stories of home, and pray for rescue. Each sunrise becomes a victory in itself, proof that life still holds a spark of hope even in the coldest hell. Weeks pass, and the radio brings no news. The official search is called off, and families are told there is no chance of survival. Yet in the frozen wreckage, hope refuses to die. Two determined men, Fernando Nando Pardu and Roberto Canessa, resolve to cross the mountains on foot to find help. Their plan is desperate: scale peaks, navigate glaciers, and reach civilization or die trying. The journey is brutal. Thin air, blinding snow, and bone-deep exhaustion test every ounce of their strength. They learn to read the terrain, to push through pain and hunger, to move when every muscle begs to stop. After days of unimaginable suffering, they finally spot signs of life beyond the ice. A man on horseback, a river, civilization. Word spreads fast. A coordinated rescue effort is launched. Helicopters and ground teams brave the mountains, searching for the wreck site. One by one, the remaining survivors are airlifted from the snow-covered valley. After 72 long days, 16 people emerge from the white silence. Thin, weak, but alive. The world is stunned. The story ignites debates about ethics, faith, and the raw instinct to survive. For the survivors, life is forever changed, marked by grief, resilience, and an unbreakable bond. The miracle of the Andes becomes more than a survival story. It is a testament to human endurance, to the power of hope, and to the unshakable will to live. When we remember this story, we remember not only the tragedy, but the triumph. It reminds us that even in the darkest places on Earth, the light of the human spirit can still shine. The Titanic, a name that still echoes through history as one of the greatest tragedies ever to strike the seas. It was April 10th, 1912, when a mighty RMS Titanic, the largest and most luxurious ship of its time, set sail from Southampton, England, on its maiden voyage to New York City. The world watched in awe as this massive floating palace promised a new era of travel. People called it unsinkable, a ship so grand, so powerful, that even nature itself couldn't bring it down, or so they believed. On board were more than 2,000 passengers, from the richest aristocrats to hopeful immigrants chasing a new life in America. The ship was a masterpiece of human engineering, 10 decks high, filled with restaurants, smoking rooms, swimming pools, and lavish cabins that rivaled five-star hotels. The first-class passengers lived in luxury, while down below, in the third-class compartments, dreams of a better tomorrow filled the air. As the Titanic sailed into the cold Atlantic waters, everything seemed perfect. The sea was calm, the stars shone bright, and music floated through the grand halls. But beneath that calm ocean, danger was waiting. On the night of April 14th, as the ship raced through icy waters, the temperature dropped sharply. Several warnings of iceberg were sent to the Titanic, but they were ignored or overlooked. The ship continued full speed ahead, driven by pride and the promise of record time. Then, at 11:40 p.m., it happened. A massive iceberg appeared in the darkness. The lookout shouted, "Iceberg right ahead." The crew tried to steer away, but it was too late. The Titanic's side scraped against the iceberg, tearing open its steel hull. The ocean began to pour in through the cracks, flooding the lower decks. The ship that was once called unsinkable was now fighting for survival. Panic spread as the crew realized the truth. The Titanic would not last. There were not enough lifeboats for everyone on board. As the ship tilted into the freezing water, chaos erupted. Some people prayed, others screamed, and the band continued to play music to calm the terrified passengers. The wealthy and the poor faced the same cruel fate that night. Nature showed no mercy. The lifeboats filled quickly, mostly with women and children. Many men stayed behind, watching their loved ones disappear into the blackness. As the ship's lights flickered and the great vessel broke apart, the Titanic sank beneath the waves, taking more than 1,500 souls with her. The freezing waters of the North Atlantic claimed them all in silence. Hours later, rescue ships arrived, finding only lifeboats drifting on the dark sea. The survivors stared into the night, haunted by what they had witnessed. The Titanic now lay at the bottom of the ocean, a graveyard of lost dreams. Today, over a century later, the story of the Titanic reminds us of human ambition and human error, a tale of pride, tragedy, and the fragile line between power and nature. The ship may have sunk, but its legend will never die. Chernobyl, the silent ghost city. In the heart of Ukraine lies a place frozen in time, a city that once buzzed with laughter, dreams, and everyday life. But now it stands silent, haunted by the memory of one of the world's worst nuclear disasters. This is the story of Chernobyl, the silent ghost city. Before the tragedy, Chernobyl was just another peaceful city. People lived happily, children went to school, and families spent weekends in nearby parks. Just a few miles away was the town of Pripyat, built specially for the workers of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. It was considered a modern city of the future. The Chernobyl power plant provided electricity to millions of homes. It was a symbol of progress, of human achievement, until one dark night changed everything. It was April 26, 1986. Inside reactor number 4 of the power plant, engineers were running a safety test. But something went terribly wrong. In just seconds, pressure built up inside the reactor. And then a massive explosion tore through the building. The reactor roof was blown apart. Bright blue flames rose into the night sky. Radioactive dust spread everywhere, invisible, silent, and deadly. The people of Pripyat didn't know what had happened. Many stood outside, watching the glowing light in the distance, not realizing they were breathing in poison. In the next few hours, radiation levels skyrocketed, thousands of times higher than what a human body can survive. Yet, life in the city went on as normal. Children went to school, families went for walks, and nobody knew the danger surrounding them. It wasn't until 36 hours later that the government finally ordered an evacuation. Buses lined up one after another. People were told to pack only what they needed for a few days. They thought they'd come back soon, but they never did. When everyone left, time stopped. Toys were left on the floor. Food was left on tables. School books lay open on desks. Even today, everything remains almost the same, frozen, as if waiting for people to return. Animals took over the streets. Trees grew through buildings. Rusted Ferris wheels and broken cars became symbols of what once was. Chernobyl and Pripyat became ghost towns, quiet, eerie, and filled with memories that will never fade. Thousands of brave men, known as liquidators, were sent to clean up the mess. They built a giant steel structure over the reactor called the sarcophagus to contain the radiation. Many of them risked and lost their lives to save others. Their courage prevented the disaster from spreading across Europe. Without them, the damage could have been much worse. Today, Chernobyl is still dangerous, though radiation levels have dropped. It has become a place of history and mourning. Some parts are open for guided tours, where people can see abandoned homes, schools, and the famous Ferris wheel standing still in the wind. Nature has taken back the land. Wild animals roam freely, and plants grow everywhere. It's peaceful now, but underneath that peace lies a silent reminder of human mistakes. Chernobyl is more than just a disaster site. It's a lesson, a warning from the past. It reminds us how one small mistake, one moment of carelessness, can change everything. The city may be silent, but its story still speaks to the world, whispering about the cost of power and the price of ignorance. This is Chernobyl, the silent ghost city. On March 8th, 2014, something unbelievable happened. Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 took off from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, heading to Beijing, China, but it never arrived. The plane simply vanished from radar, and to this day, it remains one of the biggest mysteries in aviation history. Flight MH370 was a Boeing 777 carrying 239 people, 227 passengers, and 12 crew members. The flight began normally around 12:41 a.m. Everything was smooth. The plane climbed to cruising altitude, and the pilots communicated with air traffic control as usual. But just 40 minutes after takeoff, everything changed. At 1:19 a.m., the pilot said his final words, "Good night, Malaysian 370. A few minutes later, the aircraft disappeared from radar screens. It was as if the plane had vanished into thin air. For hours, no one knew what had happened. The families of passengers waited, hoping for news. But nothing came. When Malaysian officials checked the radar records, they saw something strange. The plane had turned sharply off course. Instead of flying northeast toward China, it turned west and flew back across Malaysia, then out toward the Indian Ocean. This raised a chilling question. Was it a technical problem, or did someone inside the plane make that turn on purpose? Search teams from many countries began one of the largest search operations in history. Dozens of ships, airplanes, and satellites scanned the seas. At first, they searched near Vietnam, where the plane was last tracked. But later, data from a British satellite company called Inmarsat showed something unexpected. The plane had continued flying for almost 7 more hours after losing contact, heading south into the remote Indian Ocean. Based on that data, experts believe the plane crashed somewhere in a lonely stretch of ocean west of Australia. But finding it wasn't easy. The Indian Ocean is deep and massive, with rough waters and strong currents. For years, teams searched an area covering more than 120,000 square kilometers. Yet they found nothing. Then, in 2015, a small piece of the plane washed up on a beach on Réunion Island, near Africa. It was part of a wing called a flaperon. Later, more debris from MH370 was found on islands and beaches along the western Indian Ocean. These discoveries confirmed the plane had indeed crashed somewhere in that area. But the main wreckage, the fuselage, the black boxes, and the truth still remain hidden beneath the waves. Many theories have tried to explain what happened. Some say it was a sudden technical failure. Others believe the pilot might have changed course intentionally. A few even suspect hijacking or a fire in the cargo area. But without the black boxes, nobody can say for sure. Every idea has questions, and none provide all the answers. The official investigation lasted for years and cost hundreds of millions of dollars. In 2018, the final report stated that the reason for the disappearance could not be determined. The families of passengers were left heartbroken, still waiting for closure. Today, the mystery of MH370 remains unsolved. It has inspired books, documentaries, and even conspiracy theories. But behind all the speculation are the real human stories. 239 lives lost, and families still searching for peace. The disappearance of Flight MH370 reminds us how fragile life can be, and how even in our modern world full of technology, some secrets of the sky can still remain hidden. Some believe one day the truth will surface, maybe from new technology, maybe from new debris, or maybe from a miracle discovery deep in the ocean. Until then, Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 stands as one of the greatest mysteries ever, a story of silence, loss, and the endless search for answers. Imagine you are flying high in the sky, 24,000 feet above the ground. The seatbelt light is off, people are relaxing, and flight attendants are serving drinks. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a loud explosion shakes the plane. Wind roars through the cabin. The blue sky appears above your head. The roof of the airplane is gone. This is the real story of Aloha Airlines Flight 243, one of the most unbelievable survival stories in aviation history. It was April 28, 1988. A Boeing 737 took off from Hilo, Hawaii, heading toward Honolulu. On board were 89 passengers and 6 crew members. Everything seemed normal as the plane climbed smoothly to 24,000 feet. But what no one knew was that the aircraft had a hidden danger. Years of flying in humid, salty island air had caused small cracks to form in the metal body. These cracks were invisible to the eye, but deadly in the air. Just 23 minutes into the flight, a terrifying event changed everything. With a sound like a giant explosion, a section of the fuselage, the top part of the cabin, tore away. In an instant, a huge part of the roof, nearly 18 feet long, was ripped open. The plane turned into a convertible at 24,000 feet. Wind blasted through the cabin at hurricane speed. Passengers screamed as oxygen masks dropped down. Papers, seats, and debris were sucked toward the hole. The blue sky and clouds were visible right above their heads. The pressure drop was so violent that a flight attendant, Clarabelle C.B. Lansing, was pulled out of the plane instantly. Tragically, she did not survive. She had been doing her job, helping passengers moments before the explosion. The rest of the crew and passengers were now fighting for their lives. Captain Robert Skornsteimer and First Officer Mimi Tompkins were in the cockpit. The sudden blast had torn away part of the cockpit ceiling, but both pilots were alive and conscious. The noise was deafening, the wind freezing, and the controls shaking. The pilots immediately began to descend the aircraft. But there was a new problem. The plane's structure was badly damaged. Any wrong move could cause it to break apart completely. The crew had to guide the plane carefully to safety. The nearest airport was Kahului Airport on Maui Island. The pilots turned toward it. The cabin was open to the sky. Passengers were clinging to their seats, and debris was flying everywhere. Some people thought they would never make it. Flight attendant Lauren Williams crawled across the cabin, helping passengers with oxygen masks and seat belts, even though she herself was injured. Other passengers held on to each other and prayed. Finally, after 13 minutes of terror, the pilots managed to line up the plane with the runway. The landing gear was damaged, and the plane was shaking violently, but they had no choice. Captain Skornsteimer brought the plane down hard, but safely. When the wheels touched the runway, people began crying, shouting, and praying. Against all odds, the airplane had survived. Of the 95 people on board, 94 survived. Only one life was lost, the brave flight attendant C.B. Lansing. The rest walked away from a plane that had literally lost its roof in midair. Investigators later discovered that the cause was metal fatigue, tiny cracks in the aluminum skin that grew over time. Because the aircraft made short island hops every day, it had thousands of takeoffs and landings, which put enormous stress on the body of the plane. The disaster changed aviation safety forever, Airlines began to perform much stricter inspections, especially for older aircraft. Engineers also improved how planes were built, making them safer and stronger. But what truly makes this story unforgettable is the courage and skill of the crew. The pilots who stayed calm under impossible pressure, and the flight attendants who risked their lives to save others. The story of Aloha Airlines Flight 243 is not just about a disaster. It's about a miracle in the sky, where teamwork, bravery, and a little bit of luck turned certain death into survival. So next time you're on a plane and look out at the clouds, remember this. Once, high above Hawaii, an airplane lost its roof at 24,000 feet and still made it home.